Welcome to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. My name is Stephanie Dingbaum. I am a mental health therapist, and I am so passionate about all things health and wellness, personal development, and empowering others to be their most authentic and best versions of themselves. Here at Therapeutic Intentions, we are all about having intentional and authentic conversations on whole body health, healing practices, mindset, and ways to uplevel your life so you can truly be the best version of you. If you are a woman, a mom, hope to someday be a mom, a healer, or just in a place where you want to start prioritizing yourself and your health, then this podcast is for you. I am so glad you're here. If you're ready, let's get to it. Hello, Stephanie Dingbaum here with Therapeutic Intentions Podcast, and I have Madison Gammons with me today. I have never met Madison in person, but I got to know her after Powerhouse Women. Madison she's a money and mindset coach. And what I love is, Maddie, your tagline on Instagram, helping you step into your wealthy girl era. Oh, yeah. Just like, I love that. I just love it. Like, that's the era I've entered into, and I love that. That's what you're helping women do. So anyways, like I said before, she's a money and mindset coach, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because I've never met her in person. We got to know each other after the fact. I got a 1-hour free coaching session with her, which was just awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, you did great. You nailed it. And I'm so happy to hear you're stepping into your wealthy girl era because we all need to enter that era ASAP. As you said, I am money mindset, personal finance coach. I like to say that I'm like a life coach for you and your money. So really helping you figure out what your money objectives are and helping you build a plan to get there, obviously with the overall objective of increasing your net worth and starting to have more confidence when it comes to money and the role that it plays in your life, and ultimately building wealth and achieving financial independence and financial freedom. I just think that more money in the hands of women and more women empowerment around finances is such a needed thing. So that is what I'm all about. And that is exactly what I'd love to help coach women do.
I love that. That's a great elevator pitch right there. Dang. It's just like so smooth, and I love it. So I'm just curious, what made you decide like this is what you want to niche down on? Like, what made you decide I want to coach women on money mindset? I want to coach women on gaining more wealth. Like, what's your story behind landing yourself there?
Yeah, honestly, I stepped into this role and created this business because it's exactly what I wish existed years ago. So I have been through my own personal finance journey, and it really started at the age of 17. I moved out my senior year of high school and moved in with a boyfriend at the time, and just very quickly had to learn how to navigate the world of money. So learning how to pay for bills and pay for taxes and open up credit cards and max out credit cards and apply for student loans and financial aid and scholarships and all of this stuff to be able to go to college. I was the first person in my family to go to a 4-year university. And so had to navigate all of that. Ultimately, was figuring it out on my own. So I wasn't in the best relationship at the time with my parents. We have mended. We are great now. But during that chapter, I was really navigating everything on my own. And from the day I was 17, have been just financially responsible for myself. And so by the time I graduated college, I was just highly motivated to not be broke anymore because I had put myself through college on credit cards and multiple jobs and just was hustling and working to get through college. And so I decided to go into sales after I graduated college because you can make really great money in sales. Yeah. And that was really my primary motivation. And when I got into that sales role, I was able to find some success and started making really great money. And I had this vision for stepping into that role. Like, okay, once I hit 6 figures, all my problems are going to be solved. Like, I just had this idea. 6 figures sounded like $1 billion probably feels to me right now, like so much money. And so by the time I hit 6 figures, a couple years into the job, I was like, wait a second. I don't actually think I know anything about money. Like, I have been able to survive. I've gotten myself through a lot of situations, but I don't actually know how to thrive with money. And I'm making more money, but I'm just spending more money. And I don't actually know what I'm supposed to be doing with it. Like, the words like wealth and investments and retirement, these weren't even parts of my vocabulary. Like, I did not know anything about this. So I went down a deep rabbit hole of learning what the heck the rich do with their money and what the objective is. And I also at that time started learning a lot about our mindset and the power of our subconscious thoughts and all of that. And eventually the two worlds just really merged, where I understood the power of our beliefs, the power of our mindset, and how much of a role that plays into how we treat our finances. And then there's also the financial literacy component of we just aren't taught the logistics of what to do with our money. So all of that really just came together so beautifully into the coaching world. And I discovered, the idea of becoming a coach and being able to provide a space for women to make their financial journey easier and just to have a girlfriend to talk about money with and build a game plan with and hold them accountable, and all the things that I wish I had when I was sitting in front of my, computer, just Googling what is a 401k and what do people really mean when they're talking about retirement and like all of these things. So that's really ultimately how I got into it and decided to start a business in this line of, I guess, life.
That's beautiful. That is amazing. I completely agree. I literally, when I first started my private practice, and, I am heavy into like daily gratitude, daily affirmations. And in the beginning doing the whole, like, I am a 6-figure business owner. Like it sounds like such a big deal. And then when you get there, it's like, now it's like, it feels good to say, I am the first female millionaire in my family. Like that, some people are like, that's way too far-fetched, but I'm like, why? No. That's your own limiting belief though, not mine. Like, I don't think it is. After my grandpa passed, I found out he was a millionaire. And so I'm like, okay, if my grandpa could do it from owning a farm in rural Iowa, then why could I not become a millionaire? You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
It's just proof. If one person can do it, it's just proof that we can too.
Literally, exactly that. And I love what you said there. So often in life, but especially with money, we just adopt other people's beliefs. Yeah. That's really where it all stems, is we just adopt other people's beliefs and we don't really take the time to question if we think they're real or true for us. And so I love that you're like, wait a second, this is absolutely possible for me. And it is, and you're going to get there. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, 100%. And now that I'm starting my coaching business, like I very much believe like, okay, now we're going. Like,
it's not an if, it's just a when.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I also like what you said, like there's not a lot of people like you out there, as in like there is plenty of white males out there running the money world, but like there's not a lot of females of any color. I mean, really, there's not. And so this is a niche that, well, one, like there's definitely a need for more women who are financially literate, like know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was Get Rich Lucky Bitch or I'm a Badass at Making Money, Jen Sincero. One of those
one of my favorites.
Both are amazing. Yeah. One of them talked about, in particular, like if you're going to run your own business, learning how to be in control of your money and not just like giving up that power to, I think they said like white men, which in general, like it's so easy for me to give that power to a man just in general, because I've never had to be in control of my money. And so it's just so easy to trust that both my accountant and my financial advisor and my husband, they're all looking over my books and I just trust them. Like for all I know, my accountant could be embezzling from me, but I wouldn't know because I trust him. Like, but we need to have that power. Like we need to take that power back.
Yeah.
But we just think like it's too hard. It's too hard to learn this stuff. It's too hard to wrap my head around,
Well, I think, you nailed it. The financial industry profits off of people feeling like they can't do it themselves. That's the entire business model, honestly, right? And they profit off of people not having enough money in their bank accounts and incurring fees. They profit off of people not having, solid spending habits and incurring high interest credit card debt. They profit off of people by making money and then passing it over to a financial advisor, and they're the ones managing all their money, which is fine if you want to use a financial advisor, but like you've got to know what's going on with your money, right? And I think that's such a mindset shift when you look at how people manage their money. Like wealthy people, they know what's going on with their finances. They know their numbers. They know what they're invested in. They know what the plan is. They know how their different decisions are playing into the overall objective and the goal. But unfortunately, the whole like common conversation is typically like, oh, you don't need to worry about this. Like, just go make money, hand it to me. I'll manage it. You're good. Right. And you just get the returns. And so in that model, you're just taking on 100% of the risk, and you're definitely not getting 100% of the return. And also, if you lose it all, you lose it all. It's your money. Right. So I think the best thing you can do is really know what's going on with your money. Nobody is ever going to love your money more than you are going to love it. So it's really important to know what's going on with it.
I love that. I completely agree. And I will say, like, yes, my husband does like my profit and loss statements and everything for the business, and kind of like the behind the scenes books and stuff. And what I appreciate in him, because he's a wizard when it comes to spreadsheets. So I'm like, I will gladly give you that power. But what I appreciate in him is that he explains it to me and like dumbs it down without making me feel stupid for not understanding this stuff, because it's just not my realm of understanding. I want to, don't get me wrong, but it's not my specialty. It's not, I don't know, like mindset's my specialty. And so that is just something that I know I need to be knowledgeable about, but I don't have the energy at the end of the day to really pour into it. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that in him, because that, like I said, I want somebody to explain it to me, but I don't want them to make me feel like stupid, you know?
We don't need the mansplaining. We don't need oh, I can't believe you don't know what this is, right? Which is exactly why I created the space, because I felt so silly Googling like differences between Roth and traditional, or like, what should I be doing with my money? Like, you just fall into these rabbit holes, and it's like, I felt dumb. I felt like silly for not knowing this stuff. And like, people would just like drop terminology, and I'm just like, am I supposed to know what this is? And I went to school for business. Like, I got a business degree, which I feel like if there's going to be a world where we're going to learn about personal finance and wealth building, like, I would assume it would be within the realm of like a business school. But so I felt even more like, oh my God, like, I paid a lot of money for my degree. Like, I should probably know what these people are talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And I did not. So there's definitely room to grow and learn, and it can feel really scary and daunting. And I definitely still don't know everything and anything there is to know about personal finance, but you learn enough about what's important to you and your objectives and your goals to feel confident. Because I think the confidence about where your money's going, what you're doing with it, again, I'm just so big on how is this playing into the bigger picture of the life that you're trying to build, because everybody's life goals are so wildly different. So when you can understand, oh, I made this much money and this much of it's going towards this goal, and now I'm this much closer to X, Y, or Z, like, that feels really exciting. And then money becomes more fun. It becomes more enjoyable versus like, oh, I don't really know. I know my card's not getting declined, and that's a win, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing with all this money. Or you just don't have a plan for it, and you start making really good money, and then you don't have a plan for it. So by default, you just spend more money.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is that when you work with your coaching clients, is that kind of like where you start? Like, we can manifest all the money in the world for you, but if you don't have a plan for what you want to do with that money, then we're really just like spinning our wheels for what? Is that kind of where you start with them?
Yeah. Everyone's situation's so different, but absolutely. Like, where are we headed? Like, what's the objective of the life that you're trying to live? And that's why I say my approach is it's life coaching, but with your money, right? So when we're talking about where do you want to go in life? Like, what excites you? What do you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 30 years when you retire? And then how do we work backwards from there and start to figure out, okay, what can you do today? Like, where do we start with where you're at to be able to get you closer to that goal? What vehicles are going to make the most sense for you? You know, do you want to invest in the stock market? Do you want to learn about real estate? Do you want to look at businesses? Like, there's so many, those are the 3 main ways that you would look at wealth building. And then from there, it might even go, okay, hey, maybe I'm not ready to invest yet, but I just want to spend more intentionally. Like, what should I be doing with my money? And I always joke, like, you shouldn't just be shooting your money away, right? Because you should be spending it based on what you want to do. So you can find anyone's advice in the world out there about what you quote unquote should be doing with money. But really, like, how are you spending in alignment with your own goals, your own values, and getting you closer to what your version of your most luxurious life looks like? Like, that's really the objective that I want to walk my clients through.
I love that. And you're practicing what you preach, which is even cooler. So if you don't follow Madison on Instagram, you should, because there's so many things I want to say about your Instagram page. First of all, like, do you wear green, like, intentionally because you, like, that's your brand, right? Like, money. Yeah. Is that why you wear green all the time? Because I freaking love it. If that's what, or do you just like the color on you? I don't know.
No, it's okay. So a couple years ago, I was like, I think green's my color. And then as I've really worked into this brand, absolutely. It's definitely like, I feel like I'm just like owning it at this point. Like green is part of my identity. I've been joking lately. So yes,
I love
absolutely.
it. I love
But
it.
I love the symbolism. Like it's wealth, it's
Yes.
abundance, it's happiness, it's health. Like
It is.
there's so much that goes into the color green. Calm, there's nature. So I love the color green, but yeah,
Okay.
called out.
I
You
love
caught
that.
me. It's definitely my brand for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, in the beginning, I was like, before I even knew what you were all about, I'm like, wow, she brands her, like her outfits are even a part of her brand. How cool is that? Like, I just love it. Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
If you are short or petite in any way, then listen up. This ad is for you. Did you know that nearly half of all women in the US are 5'4" or under, therefore considered petite? Being petite should not mean compromising on your style. For years, I shopped in the children's section at certain stores just to be able to find clothes that fit me somewhat decently without needing to be hemmed or altered. Even when I did shop in the adult section, it was always difficult to find clothes that came in extra small, or even worse, extra, extra small. The only way to find petite clothes was for me to order online. But that meant not being able to try them on or know if they fit correctly or not. When I finally did find some loyal companies that actually sold my sizes, I still almost always needed alterations to be done. Either the arms were too long, the pants were too long, or the waist was still wider than I'd like. I felt like I was not asking for too much to be able to have clothes that fit me to a T without needing to spend extra money getting clothes altered. Due to the poor fit in clothes, I had grown to hate shopping. Seriously, you guys, I never looked forward to it, especially knowing I wasn't going to find something that fit me just right. This frustration led me to researching style boxes in hopes that maybe, just maybe, I could find a style box to accommodate my petite size. Initially, I hit dead end after dead end. Either they didn't offer petite options or they didn't go down to extra, extra small in sizes, which is what I needed. All my prayers were answered one day when I stumbled upon a clothes subscription box called Short Story. Short Story's mission is to help petite women dress with total confidence. They acknowledge that fashion has never been petite friendly, and they are completely rewriting the rules. Amazing, right? They have clothes for petites of all sizes, all heights, and all shapes. Even better, they get their inspiration directly from their buyers, people like you and me who subscribe to them. They literally create and design their clothing lines using our specific feedback. How freaking amazing is that, you guys? There's so much I love about Short Story, but I'll keep it short and sweet so you can get back to the show. First things first, you can order boxes monthly, bi-monthly, every 3 months. You can personalize it to your own specific shopping needs, which is awesome. No more ordering online, going into stores. I get my box monthly and it always comes with 7 items. I would say on average, I keep anywhere from 4 to 6 of the items depending on the month. And another added benefit, when I started, I took their styling quiz and gave them my specific measurements for my entire body. We're talking bust, waist, height, arm length, etc., which means no more alterations. Everything fits my arms, my legs, all of it. It's like, I don't know, I feel like I have my own personal stylist. It makes me feel like a freaking rock star. And after each box, I'm able to give my stylist feedback on the item she sent and requests that I have for future boxes. So I'm always getting my fashion needs met depending on what time of year we're in and what I'm looking for and what events I might have coming up. I am always satisfied too, because it's pretty rare for my request to not be granted, not gonna lie. Finally, when you fill out your styling quiz in the beginning, you get to tell them your price point, what you can and can't afford, what style you prefer, what you like, what you don't like when it comes to clothing, and you can give them access to your Pinterest style board, which, truth be told, best thing I ever did for myself. I literally have manifested my Pinterest style board in real life, you guys, because they look at it each month, and if I pin new items to it, they'll try and send me items that I've pinned or close to it. Talk about an added bonus. It's just amazing. So seriously, I feel like I've bragged enough. I'm sure you get the point by now. Short Story is for petites of all ages, all sizes. If you are 5'4" and under, this is the subscription box for you. No more shopping in stores. Let your clothes come directly to you. Hopefully, this will then save you time. I know we all need more of that, and money in the long run. I wouldn't be recommending a company that I myself don't strongly support and believe in personally. I have been a loyal subscriber of Short Story for over 6 years now, and I am so proud of it. Be honest. If you are short or petite like me, wouldn't you love to show up at professional events or family gatherings feeling confident in what you're wearing, knowing that it came tailored to your specific fashion needs? If you're intrigued at all, go into my show notes for today's episode and use the referral link that I put in there. This link will waive your $25 styling fee for your first box. If you are anything like me and you're ready to uplevel your style, show up as that next level version of yourself, and feel like $1,000,000, then subscribe to Short Story today. I promise you will not regret it. All links will be in my show notes for today's episode.
I'm assuming a lot of the work you do with clients I'm assuming you do a lot of like root cause work. So we all have this mindset around money. A lot of the times our mindset is based on these subconscious beliefs that we carry, these identities that we carry about ourselves. So I'm assuming a lot of the work you do with clients is rewiring or uncovering and then rewiring those subconscious beliefs around money. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do a lot of that with clients as well, both my therapy clients and it will be my coaching clients as well. In a way, I feel like it's an untapped market. Like, I think our generation is finally like, we need to be doing more of this. But I feel like the previous generation, like this was never touched, which is fascinating to me because when I talk to clients about their limiting beliefs around money, like there's a couple of therapy clients I brought it up with, but I definitely will be talking more about that with my coaching clients. But it's like, it's nothing to be ashamed of because we all have limiting beliefs around money. Nobody is exempt from that, right? But when you look historically at our family history, you know, our grandparents or maybe great-grandparents, but I think it's our grandparents that were children that came out of the Great Depression. Like their parents were surviving the Great Depression. So of course we carry these limiting beliefs around money. I mean, like that was a pretty monumental time in our country's history. So it's pretty rare to not have limiting beliefs when our ancestors lived in this time where like money was scarce. And so naturally we grew up being told that money doesn't grow on trees or that we live in this like pie in the sky world where there's only enough slices for the rich and the famous. Like that's simply not true, but you can understand where that belief stems from when you look at our country's history and our family's history. You know, it makes complete sense then. It's nothing to be ashamed of because we all have these. I just think that's where the work needs to start.
Well, so a couple notes on that. Another really interesting thing specifically with women is that it was just 50 years ago that women have been able to open up credit cards and take out loans and all of this stuff without their husband or their brother or their dad signing off on them being able to do that, get a business loan, like buy a home, all these things. And so 50 years is not that long ago. So we're even just like deprogramming as a society about women having the same rights when it comes to money as men. So thinking about that, but also like the Great Depression component of it, but also just, it was probably our grandparents that were in the generation of now you can have access to this stuff. And so you think about how that gets passed down and how money is just always, you know, a man's thing is how it's always been like, oh, the guy manages the finances, like all of this stuff. So if our grandparents and our parents and, you know, specifically our grandmothers and our mothers weren't really learning about money and they weren't really the ones managing it, then you think about like, how long does it take to trickle down? I think our generation is finally at a point where we are looking at a lot of this stuff and we are getting more in control of our money. So it's just going to continue to increase from here in regards of like money confidence within women. But what you said is also so true is that there's no situation where you don't have a limiting belief around money. No matter how you grew up, whether you grew up really wealthy, you grew up really poor, you have a belief system about what you believe to be true about money. That's just a fact. And it's showing up in one way or another with how you treat your finances. So it's not a thing to be ashamed of. It's just, well, what's my starting point? Where am I at? Where do I want to go? And how do I start to move in that direction? So yeah, absolutely. Everybody has these beliefs around money that deserve to be looked at to understand how that's showing up, because our beliefs around money, it's like our money mindset is just so deeply ingrained in so many components of our life. Like you think about how it's just a confidence component of how we show up to ask for raises in our job, to apply for new promotions, to change careers, to start a business, to leave a full-time job, to like do all of these things. Like if you go all the way back to the root of it, there's probably going to be a belief there about money.
Yes. Yeah.
So absolutely, it's the best place to start.
It's funny, like when I did my work through my money beliefs, I literally just like went through the timeline of my life from the beginning to currently, and I just like kind of like a bar, like I just moved the bar across the timeline, and anytime it would hit a certain age, I'd be like, okay, what happened in that year of my life? Was there anything around money? Any memories connected to money? I just kept going to past that timeline till I hit another significant memory around money. And like I thought, going into that, like, yeah, I'm sure I have a couple limiting beliefs, but holy cow, I ended up filling like 2 pages in my journal with these limiting beliefs around money. And then it's like, the more you come up with, then you're like triggering other memories. Like, oh yeah, I remember mom talking, badly about dad because the child support wasn't being paid or whatever. And then it's like, oh, and then that triggers this other memory. Like I felt guilty for going to this private 4-year college and I didn't even look at the price tag when I was college shopping. I just like went and I told myself like the money didn't matter. It would find me, and then feeling guilty that I ended up choosing what happened to be like one of the pricier ones in our area. Like, whoops. But, and then it's just more keeps coming up from there the more you do this work. And then, a year into business, like I did all of that work early on when I started my private practice. And then a year in now I'm like, oh, I'm good. I did that work. But then what you don't realize is as you get further along and you bring more money in, then other limiting beliefs that maybe you didn't think about pop up, and the work is never ending, but it's not a bad thing, right? Like the work, the healing journey in general, like it can be a fun thing. It's like as more beliefs pop up, it's like, oh, I didn't know that about myself. So I'm just observing these new beliefs that are coming into the picture now that I'm up leveling into this new stage as an entrepreneur. And yeah, it's just ongoing as we continue to grow as whether you're an entrepreneur or not. It's just an ongoing process, I feel, as a human.
100%. Yeah. If you're growing every year, if you're changing and if you're going through new cycles and you're experiencing new things in life, you're going to come up against new beliefs and you're going to come up against new stuff. And it's just, once you learn to start being aware of how it all works, though, it gets easier to be like, oh, that's really interesting how that's showing up for me right now. Right. And I think a lot of the work that you do too in this space, it's like, once you become aware of those thoughts and you become aware of the belief system that you have, you can start to look at it from like an outside point of view and be like, okay, I get where that's coming from. I understand how that's showing up for me and why I'm responding in this way, maybe why I'm, having these different habits, but then it becomes easier to just step away from that or to just have a different approach to it. And also when you talk about these memories, I mean, from the subconscious work, right? We could have beliefs about money, about the world from a time frame where we don't even have memories yet because we are just observing from such a young age. And so even if you don't have a memory to back up where something came from or a belief, that doesn't mean that it didn't come from something that you witnessed, because we're just sponges in those first 7 years of life where we're just constantly building our, beliefs about the world, and anything that we're witnessing in that time frame is just getting filed away. And there's nothing inherently wrong with the beliefs that you have. It's just figuring out what they are and then figuring out what would be a more supportive belief for the goal that you're trying to accomplish, and then going out and finding that evidence and just working on adopting that new belief system. So it's like you said, it's never ending, but it does get easier. And once you start to like identify it, it becomes more fun to be like, oh, okay, I see you tricky little thing showing up like
exactly.
that.
Yep, exactly. Totally agree. I like that. And you mentioned like your brain looks for evidence to prove those new stories to be true. So you can really like manifest these next level money goals of yours. And again, like mentioning your Instagram, you have done that. Like you have truly set the example as a money coach. You're manifesting these big goals, both financially and just in general, like going to the Eras tour with your coach and just all the things. Like you're truly practicing what you're teaching your clients, which I mean, the best coach would do that. So I'm not surprised to see you doing that. But the manifestation piece is another piece of your coaching business. I mean, what I love about that is you're not only teaching women how to be more comfortable around money and embracing wealth in their life, but okay, like how can we manifest this and make this a lived reality for you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm huge on manifestations. I'm marketing myself as a clarity coach, but I'm like, manifestation is a big part of what I do with my clients. And there's just something to be said about like, people underestimate the power of our thoughts. So it's great. Like you're working with your clients. Let's rewrite these beliefs. Let's make up these new beliefs now. Again, like if they don't understand how powerful their thoughts are, like even if they rewrite these beliefs, like nothing's going to change because they have to tell themselves new thoughts, new beliefs that are empowering, that are going to get them to meet those next level goals that they have for themselves or their business. And I don't know. There's so much I could say around the manifestation process. Like I've seen things, big things, little things manifest in my life, just like you have. And it's like, once you experience it, it's like, holy shit, why aren't people doing this stuff more often? Why aren't you just like making it a part of your life? You know?
Yeah. It's one of those, it's like the intangible, but it's almost like the manifestation piece is like, that's the results in my mind. So the three components that I help my clients with, it's the science, the strategy, and the spirituality behind money, right? So the science is what we talk about when it comes to how our brain operates and the psychology behind how we treat our money and the subconscious beliefs that we have, paired with the strategy. So it's like, okay, let's look at what the goals are that you're trying to accomplish, right? And build a plan. Let's look at the beliefs that are popping up that are holding you back from thinking that you can accomplish this plan. And let's get those things taken care of. Now that you have the belief system and you have the plan, we know what we're supposed to do. We got to go out and actually do the dang thing, right? And this is where the manifestation comes into place of acting in alignment with that version of you, taking aligned action in that direction and starting to see proof that, oh shit, I think this could actually work. I think I could actually make this happen. And you start with small little things. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my God, I just actually accomplished that goal, or I saved for that thing I wanted to go for, or all of a sudden I'm like feeling so confident and everything. And now different opportunities are popping up around me that are helping me hit these goals faster. And now I'm like just a living embodiment of this version of myself that I wanted to be, because money is such a powerful tool to help you be the version of yourself that you want to be, to help you live the life that you want to live. And so I think the manifestation component is like, it beautifully brings together everything that I'm about and that I want my clients to experience. And I think you need all components of it to be able to have long lasting results and to actually go out, because I just think money is the tool to help you live the life that you can't stop daydreaming about. And you've got to have all of those components. And I just believe we're here to have fun, and we're here to have fulfillment and purpose and do and see and experience all these things. Like I'm such a believer that the things that you are called to, those things that you desire, the visions that you have of the experiences and the moments and the house and the whatever, it's because they're meant to be yours. And that the only thing standing between you and there is the plan to do it and the beliefs that you can get there, and then actually taking that action and moving in alignment with those goals. And I think, I like you said, I've manifested so many things, but it's come from developing the belief in it, having a plan, taking action. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, it's really all happening. You know, it really is.
Yeah. Cause hearing your story about how you had the Eras tour, that picture or whatever, on your vision board.
That's literally right there. You can see it.
Okay. That is awesome. And then you won it, or you got it through your coach, right? Like you got offered to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was, I put that I was going to go to the Eras tour this year on my vision board. And I put it on there after already like swinging and missing with so many friends that wanted to like, someone come with me, who wants to go? Nobody wanted to spend the money. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't know how, I don't know when, but like, I'm going to get there. And then I eventually get a message from my coach, my business coach I've been working with this year. She's like, how would you feel about a VIP day where we just spend all day on your business and then we go to the Eras tour after? Because we had DM'd, we were both Swifties, you know. And I was like, absolutely, that is my spot. Are you kidding me? And it was just the most beautiful remembrance of there were so many examples as to why I thought I wouldn't get to go to that concert. So many people that had said no. Honestly, I'd like ran out of friends at that point. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to fly all the way to Miami and go do this by myself, but I just feel like it'll happen, you know? And then it came into my existence as an opportunity. I jumped on it. And then where the crazy part of the whole story is that she sends me this mock-up itinerary, or not a mock-up, but just an itinerary of the day. And the very front page of the itinerary was the exact photo that I had on my vision board of the Eras Tour. So it was just like, I opened it and my jaw was like, are you kidding me? What are the odds? Yeah.
That's so cool. And
it was very awesome.
You carried the belief system that you didn't worry about the how. You just carried that belief system. You knew it was going to find its way to you, and it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So your coach, Samantha Daly, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first saw, I don't know if it was a reel or one of your pictures of the two of you at the concert, or maybe it was in your story, and I was like, shut up, Maddie's friends with Samantha Daly. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you said she was your coach. I'm like, that's even cooler. Oh my gosh, what an amazing opportunity. I just think she is a powerhouse.
She's the real deal. She's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went through her like early aspiring coaches program earlier this year, and then have stayed in like an extended membership with her, and then did the VIP day with her. Like, she's awesome. She's really, really great.
Investment. What an awesome investment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I went on her. So my current business coach had her come on for one of our coaching sessions to talk about content creation. And cool. I was like, I know I've seen her before. And then it would put two and two together. Like, oh yeah, it's from Madison's page. And so then I went onto her website and I'm like, oh my gosh, she has so much to offer. She is gold. Like, she just has a lot to offer.
Yeah. I will sing praises about her forever. Definitely check her out.
Yeah. And then just to be in her energy, in her presence at the Eras Tour, you just had to be vibing so high that whole trip, plus Miami, like the high vibe city, you know, right?
100%. It was like a dream trip, honestly. It was just like a pinch me. I can't believe I'm actually here. And I think that's the funny thing about manifestation is like, you'll manifest moments and you're like, oh God, I can't believe it. And then something like really big happens and you're like, I can't believe it. But then you're like, but shouldn't I? I should believe it. Like, why wouldn't it happen? Yeah. Why wouldn't all these really cool things work when you're doing the work to get yourself there, right?
Yes. So I tell clients all the time, like, why not just try on best case scenario thinking? Like,
yes.
Yeah, we live in a world that does worst case scenario thinking, but just like for shits and giggles, just try on best case scenario thinking. Like you're trying on a dress, just try it for a couple of days. See how it fits on you. See if you like it. See if you vibe in it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then go back to what you were doing. But seriously, what's it going to hurt to just think that way? And when you do, and then that shit happens, it's like, okay, I'm living my reality. Like, this is my lived reality, and it's a dream come true. How awesome is that?
Literally a dream come true. I have this sign in my bathroom, and it says, what's the best that could happen? And I just look at it every single day, and I think about the day that I've got coming up and all the things I need to get done, the meetings I have, the coaching calls I have, whatever it may be. And I'm just like, what is the best outcome of the day?
Yes.
And I just spend a couple minutes in my bathroom when I'm getting ready and just think, like, nothing crazy, 1 to 2 minutes. Like, what do I got? Like, ooh, okay, this person would hop on and be like, oh, I had the biggest breakthrough. And then this person would pop on, da 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 da. And then I get a DM from someone that was like, I love what you have to say. And then I get an invite for a podcast. You know, you just think about your day and like, what's the best thing that could happen today? And I'm telling you, that's like the intention setting that carries some intense energy throughout the rest of your day.
Totally agree. On my phone screen, I made a like screen thing on Canva and I put, God, show me how easy it can be and how good it can get. So every time I turn my phone on and I see that, I'm like, yeah, like show me how good it can be. Like, why not think that way? Like, what is it going to hurt to go against the grain of the sand, to think opposite of how our society tends to think, not just in terms of money, but just in general about life.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I 100% agree.
People don't take advantage of that. And again, like, when it comes to our thoughts, though, I think we live in a world where so many people think that our thoughts control us. And it's like, no, you get to control them. Like,
you can change them.
Yeah. I mean, like, people will use the limiting beliefs that, like, well, they're just so automatic, I can't combat it. And it's like, well, that within itself is a limiting belief, though, because you actually can combat it. And you sitting here telling yourself that you can't, that is not helping you. Like, it's
Yeah.
a process, but like you can get them there. And then when you do, it's such a powerful, like your whole system and way of living changes, and it's just
Yeah.
really powerful.
That's why I'm so obsessed with the brain. Like I do so much research and
Yes.
information just around like how our brain operates, because once you understand how it works and you can understand how to make it work in your favor, that's the game changing. Cause yeah, our brains are wired to keep us alive. So our
Yes.
brain's immediate default response is to look out for any threat that could be keeping us like that would hold us back from living life, or looking out for any threat that could kill us essentially, right? So
Yes.
our brain is not wired to go out and thrive. Our brain is literally there to keep us alive. And so when you understand that, and when you understand that our brain also flags anything that's unknown as a threat, because it's like, okay, all of these scenarios, all of these situations I've dealt with, I've been around, and I'm still alive. So they're okay.
Yes.
They're not like life threatening, you know?
Right.
And then, but all these things are unknown. And the unknown is what our brain is afraid of because it just doesn't know. And so when you realize that everything that you haven't experienced, you haven't done, you haven't, started investing, you haven't invested in yourself, you haven't done anything different with your finances or your money, your brain is like, oh, nope, can't go that way, can't go that way. And so it's like default is to just pull back to what is known. And what is known is what your current reality is. And if you want to live a different reality or have a different relationship, you're going to have to do something you haven't done before, which feels really scary to your brain. And then you're living in this like flight or fight response. And so again, when you understand that that's what's going on, you can be like, okay, I appreciate you trying to keep me alive right now. I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this next thing. And so it gets a little bit easier to start trusting the unknown.
Absolutely. I agree. And even like, you made me think of a couple things, but when you mentioned like our brain is trying to keep us safe and keep us away from threat, a lot of us, we've been fed the story that money is the root of all evil. And so the concept or the belief of I'm going to be a millionaire, like that comes off as a threat to some people's minds, especially if you've grown up believing that money equals evil. Like if that's one of your lived beliefs, then that concept is not just even as a foreign concept, but that is a threat to your brain.
Yeah.
And so your brain is not going to take you down that path if you continue living your life thinking that money is the root of all evil.
Yeah. Also, you probably think you're a good person. And if your root belief is that rich people got there by screwing people over or by being a bad, shady, salesy, slimy person and taking advantage of the population, which again is a common narrative that is spread around. And are those the people out there? Of course. There are going to be really shitty rich people, but there's also a lot of really shitty poor people. Like money is not the common denominator there, right?
No.
Greed can make people do crazy things, but if you're a good person and you think that the only way to get there is by being a bad person,
right?
Like to your point, your brain's not going to let you do that then, because why would you want to prove to yourself that you're a bad person? Like you wouldn't. So
exactly. Yeah. And at the end of the day, money is just energy. I mean, that's what it is. It's just a tool.
Just a tool.
It's like a kitchen knife. Like you can use the knife to stab someone, or you can use it to make supper. I mean, you get to decide how you use that tool ultimately at the end of the day, and you can give that tool. It can be a high vibing tool that you use for good, or it can be a low vibing tool that you use for bad. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's what you're saying is like, you have a choice. If you want to look at it like it's this horrible thing, then it's probably going to lead to some pretty shitty situations.
Totally.
Whatever.
And I think most people, when they think about what would you do if you had more money, it's, provide a better life for my family. Yeah. It's go experience things that I've always wanted to experience. Go see the world. Maybe take care of your parents. Maybe provide for your kids and grandkids to go to college. Maybe it's give back to communities and causes and charitable places that, you are really like you believe in. And so when you think about like that, if that's what you want to do with money, then how could you having more money be a bad thing? It really couldn't, because everything you want to do for it is for the positive. It's for good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. I think out of all the personal development work I've done, when I chose to change my money mindset, I mean, it was just this like ripple effect, right? Like it helped me with my private practice. It helped me just like up level in so many different ways in my life. It's just like the best thing you can do for yourself is choosing to improve your mindset and then invest in building that dream, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like the best thing you can do, whether you're a business owner or not.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it bleeds into everything. Like your money mindset, whether you don't realize it, it's like, are you going for that promotion? Are you asking for a raise in your job? Or do you not feel like you are deserving of that? Like that's all rooted in worthiness as it relates to your finances. And then, yeah, like you said, investing in yourself, like putting yourself in the room with people that are thinking and dreaming bigger than you, going to events where you can meet people that are doing really awesome things that expand your mind. Like that's an investment in yourself. And that might not be an immediate financial ROI, but when you think about, like we have already talked about in here, is like once you know something's possible for yourself, right? When you're thinking about your grandfather, then your brain stops going, oh, that can't be for me. And it starts going, oh, how could it be for me? And so that's the powerful mindset shift of just investing in yourself to start showing up into rooms or to hire a coach to help you work through stuff or whatever it is. Like it's all rooted in money mindset, whether you think you want to make that investment, believe in yourself, believe in the vision. Like it's so deeply rooted in so many aspects of our life. And I think changing it is, like you said, it has such a ripple effect.
It totally does. So with going into the new year, we have a month away from New Year's Eve. Just curious, what goals do you have for yourself as a coach? What money goals do you have for yourself personally? Like what are some goals with going into the new year? I'm huge on goals. So I
love this question because I actually just started mapping out my entire 2025 and starting my 2025 vision board. So that's been really fun.
I hear you. Yes.
This is probably the earliest I've started my 2025 vision board, but I was just so excited because last year's went so well. So I'm like, what are we going to do next year? And this is my first full year as an entrepreneur in the business because I just left corporate earlier this year.
Same, Maddie. Yes.
Yes. So this was like, I'm excited for next year. So some of the goals I'm working on are just really growing and scaling my one-on-one coaching, just making a bigger impact. I'm finally at a place where I can have, a full roster. Before I was working full-time, I was getting married. So it was always like not having the full roster. So now I'm like so excited to scale that and just impact more and more women. I am really excited to expand speaking. So speaking is something that I started doing this year. So getting in front of communities and masterminds and speaking on stages at different employee resource groups and just opening up the conversation with women more about money and providing that space for them to talk about it is something I'm really excited about and that I'm challenging and pushing myself to do next year. So that's really exciting. And then this one's way less sexy, but I'm just really excited to put like systems and automation in my business next year because, I'm a one-man show right now. We're doing a lot. There's a lot of different things to keep up on. So automation and systems, I'm like, and I also would love to hire my first assistant by the end of next year at some point to be able to just start outsourcing some of that stuff so I can really focus on the things that make the biggest impact. There's so many components in the back end to running a business full time that you can't do it all, especially with, just how much I want to be able to help women. Like my time is just so divided right now. So I would say those are kind of the big focuses for next year from a business perspective that I'm excited about.
I'm so excited for you. I have so many. So I had to write a few things down because I didn't want to forget. So speaking of speaking, like you want to do more speaking, which I love. And your podcast is a total hit. I love it. I can't miss an episode. Seriously, it's so good. Share with listeners. You got to go speak at Google already in your first year of business.
Yeah.
That's freaking huge. I literally could not believe that.
It was wild. That was like such a beautiful like representation of like the power of your network and making your goals known.
Yes.
So I spoke at a women's ERG group out there, which I love. That was like a big thing I wanted to focus on was women ERGs and employee resource groups and corporations. And so my best friend knew the person who ran their women's ERG. And she was like, I think you guys would hit it off. They were talking about money and how they were trying to instill that because my best friend is a part of her women's ERG. And she got me connected with her and we just hit it off so much. She had previously worked with a money coach and just understands the importance of opening up that conversation. And so it was really just a wonderful time. I was going to be in Atlanta for a money conference that I went to. And I was like, hey, what if I just came and did it in person in a couple months for setting up virtually right now? And it was awesome. And I left it with like the biggest speaking bug. I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels so scary and expansive and exciting in so many good ways that I'm really excited to continue to do that.
I don't know, maybe you disagree, but I think it all stems from the podcast though. Like once I started my podcast, and
Yeah.
for me personally, after starting the podcast, I had I did an Akashic record reading with a shamanic healer around here. And she told me she was explaining this past life and how I have this throat chakra wound. And it made sense because my two biggest injuries in my life have been to my throat chakra. And so, she was like, yeah, you these wounds, she healed them at the seed point, but she's like, you have to continue to speak out. You can't stop. And I was like, well, I started the podcast, so it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
So then once I found that out, I'm like, this is soul aligned. And then that's when the speaking bug started for me. It's like, I got shit to say. Okay. People need to hear me, right? I'm not making myself small anymore.
Yeah.
And I think the podcast kickstarted that for me. And now I'm like, okay, people need to know I'm open to talking.
Yeah.
I don't know
I would
about
absolutely
you,
agree. The podcast has been so fun. Yeah. I kicked that off in just in July this year, and it's been so much fun to just be able to have conversations and talk about things that have been helpful for me, and obviously bring people on and talk about their area of expertise and just provide the conversation. But I agree, you sit down and you start talking and you're like, this is kind of fun.
It is. It's totally fun. I love that. So you did Google, and then you were talking about this is your first official year in business. So I'm just curious, this is my first official year owning the private practice. So it's kind of similar situation. And I don't know about you, but I'm like, okay, New Year's Eve, I just love New Year's Eve. I love sparkles, love parties. And a big part of me is I'm not just celebrating New Year's Eve this year, but I'm celebrating look at everything I accomplished in 2024. This has to be celebrated. Yes, we're going to New Year. That's exciting. But I also want to celebrate the fact that I freaking did big stuff this year. And now going into year 2, I'm going to have 2 businesses. I don't know about you, but I'm you have to celebrate big when you're not just celebrating the fact that we're maybe hit our goals for the year and maybe you manifested things from your vision board. That's all great. You got to celebrate that, but you also need to celebrate the fact that you probably had a kick-ass year as a coach, right? Do you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think you look back at oh my God, I can't believe I've made all of this happen this year. And it's that feeling of, I'm just getting started. I'm so excited for the year ahead. And I, absolutely love to use any celebration or any opportunity to celebrate. And I love New Year's. I started, you'll probably love this. This is the first year I did it, and I'm excited to sit down and read it. But I wrote a letter to myself in New Year's of this year about this year, and I'm going to read it at the end. And so that's something I'm really excited to continue to do, because I think it just helps you get as we continue on, you get more and more clear about what you want, what your goals are. Obviously things pivot, but just being able to put that out there. And I'm excited. I don't really remember what I wrote at all. I know what my vision was for the year loosely, but when I started this year in January, my vision was not to quit my job as early as I did. So I'm really excited to see how my year panned out in relationship to what I wrote in this letter to myself. So I'm really excited for that. And then
feel that concept. I love that.
Do it. And then the other thing we did last year is we wrote down all of our manifestations for the years, our goals for the years, wrote them on pieces of paper, and then had a little bonfire and just kind of popped them in the fire and just released them up. So I love the new year as an opportunity to just set new intentions, but absolutely reflect on all the incredible things that have happened in the last year, whether you hit your goal or you didn't hit your goal. You definitely made traction, you learned something important. And I think it's really important to reflect on that, because if you are someone that's a high achiever, if you're someone that's always going for the next, you can kind of get lost in feeling like you're so far away from that next goal and not realizing how far you've come from the original time you set that goal up.
Yes, I totally agree. Oh my gosh, I love it. The bond. It's always New Year's Eve here. We could do a bonfire, but it's usually below zero.
Yeah.
Freaking
not that cold here.
AF, and so we can't do that. But I do like to always pop a bottle. I don't drink, but I love to pop and explode a bottle of champagne. You just can't not do that. I don't know. Yeah. I just think that's fun. But I do love that. I love the letter idea. That's genius. And you, not just in business, but you got married in the last year. You, like you said, you quit your job, and it's been a big year. Your honeymoon, all the things. Yeah,
it's been such a big year. It's been really, really great. And it's exciting to just I don't know, look ahead. I'm excited for all the things that are come next year, but this was definitely a year to remember.
So did you manifest quite a bit of the stuff that you put on your vision board?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I have mine
Yeah.
sitting over here and I'm just like, oh, what am I going to put on it for next year? It's just, I can't wait. I do a vision board party with my girlfriends and
Love it.
all the things. Yeah, I'm
It's
so
so fun.
pumped. It is. It really is. It makes manifesting fun, honestly. And then
Yeah,
when you see it every day, oh, I love it. It lights me up.
I agree.
Awesome. So, Maddie, if anyone wants to work with you, if they're like intrigued by what you're saying today and they're like, okay, this is what I recognize, like I have money beliefs that I need to change, how can they work with you or how can they reach out to you? All the things.
Yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram. So at the Madison J, and shoot me a DM and just say hello. Let me know what you're working towards, what questions you have. I offer one-on-one coaching, so it's super customizable to you and your goals. And as I mentioned, I really help you with the mindset, the strategy, and the spirituality behind all of your money goals. So if you feel like you want a girlfriend to just really hammer out your finances with, that is not like a scary financial advisor, and we can just really set fun goals and start to just integrate all of your finances into helping you build your most luxurious life. That's what I'm all about, is helping you get clear on what kind of life you want to live and helping you spend in alignment with making that life your reality. That is what my one-on-one coaching is all about. So just shoot me a DM and we'll see if it's right for you. I'll answer any questions you have about it.
Yeah. How many weeks of a coaching program do you do, or is it just dependent on what they want?
Yeah. So we do 3 and 6 months. So it depends, on how long you want to commit to, how many goals you want to work through. But I offer 3 and 6 month packages.
Love that. My plug is, you guys, like I said before, I just happened, well, didn't happen. I was vibing at an abundant frequency.
You were
That's
vibing.
why you chose me. Yeah. And I just literally was like, well, what's it going to hurt? And then you messaged me that I won. And I was like, of course I did. I just did the 1 hour with her that I won. And you literally just feel like you're talking to a girlfriend. That's how it feels when you're talking with Maddie. Like it doesn't feel like when I'm sitting down talking with my financial advisor. He's great. No shame in that. But like, it literally just feels like you're sitting talking with a girlfriend about, money. And that 1 hour was so powerful. And I mean, I've done a lot of the work, but I still feel like that was really powerful for me. So I'm just saying, if you're even considering it, just do a consultation with her and see, like, what's it going to hurt? I think it's worth the investment. So,
oh, yay. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. And thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely trying to bring a different approach to it. Again, make it fun, make it less scary, and just feel like we can talk about all your money goals and make it a reality and help you go out and manifest it.
Yeah. And even if you don't think you need it, just follow her on Instagram, because the shit she posts, the green and just everything, like she's a vibe. So just follow her.
Oh, I appreciate you.
All right. We're going to end with some rapid fire questions here.
All right.
So what is a book that you're currently reading?
I am reading a book called, oh my gosh, I just started it. It's really good. It's all about literally everything we're talking about with mindset and stuff. But another one I just finished that for reading the second time is called Manifest. And it's by Roxy, blanking on her last name, but all about manifestation. Cool. I'll send you both the links, because the other one I'm reading right now about mindset, you would love. It's written by a neuroscientist, all about this actual like science-backed proof of our limiting beliefs and of the law of attraction and all. It's really good. It's written by this girl. I want to say like Tara Stewart is her name. I'm just totally blanking on the name of the book, but I'll send it to you. It's very good.
I need to read that.
You would honestly love it.
That's right up my alley. Have you heard of Faith Ashenden?
I have not.
She has that Healing Feeling podcast. So a lot of what I do in my therapy practice is right in line with what she does. So she has this coaching program where like she has actually suffered from a chronic health condition, and she helps rewire people's beliefs around their health to be able to heal themselves from chronic health conditions. And like this shit works. And it's what you and I do with people, like our subconscious beliefs and identities that we hold, but it's around chronic health conditions. Because typically, like if a doctor tells you a diagnosis, like that becomes your identity. And if you know anything about the subconscious, that's your identity and your beliefs. And so like, it's just getting rid of these identities that we carry. And then if you get rid of that identity and you change the beliefs around your health, you have the ability to heal yourself. It's so powerful.
I will have to check that out, because I was just talking about this, about how we like get these diagnoses and then people just wear those labels as their identity. And then that identity and label becomes an excuse. And it's like, well, hold up here.
Yep. That's why when I have an intake with a new client, I tell them, like, I'm not going to tell you, because of insurance, I have to put a diagnosis on their claims. But I tell all of my clients, I'm just very transparent. Like, just so you know, I'm not going to tell you what I put down for a diagnosis, because I don't want you walking out of my office, walking down the street, telling yourself like, whatever, Stephanie equals an anxious person. That is so detrimental to me trying to help you heal.
Yeah.
So
well, and then you're like, you're in Google and you're like, what are symptoms of an anxious person? And now all of a sudden you're like, now I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to do that, because that's how your brain is just going to start. Yeah, totally.
Right. So backwards. All right. What is one thing you can't live without?
I don't know. I feel like my husband and my dog. I love my little family. Is that a corny answer? If I would say like an actual item, I'd probably be my Kindle. My Kindle.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah. Do you do
everywhere with me?
The Kindle?
Yeah, I do.
That makes sense. What is a current go-to podcast for you?
Ooh, well, I love Samantha Daly's. She's got a great podcast.
Me too. Yes.
She does really good. And then I've also been really into The Diary of a CEO lately. They've had some really good interviews on there.
All right. What's one song you have to sing along to whenever it comes on?
Oh my gosh.
Come on, you just went to the Eras tour.
I know. I was going to say any Taylor Swift song. Can I just say literally an artist?
Yeah, T Swift. Anything.
Any T Swift song ever?
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
I've had a lot of people this year when I asked that question, a lot of T Swift. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, she's having a year right now. She's just absolutely crushing.
If you want to truly be vibing high, just go to her concert.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. What's your favorite therapeutic activity that you intentionally make time for in your life? Daily, weekly, once a month. Like, what's something therapeutic you try to be intentional about incorporating into your life?
I would say journaling, meditating, visualizing are very common ones. I work out pretty often. Is that therapy?
Yeah.
I feel like that's physical. Yeah. I've definitely, over the last couple of years, really focused on integrating those habits pretty regularly into my life, and they've just been an absolute game changer. So I'd say all those are pretty normal for me.
It totally is. I agree with you completely. Love it. Love all of this. Seriously, Madison, you are a vibe, and I'm so grateful you agreed to come on.
Nice.
I trusted my gut, and I was like, I have to reach out to her. So thank you for agreeing to this.
I was so happy when I got your note. I knew this was going to be such a fun conversation. It's so easy to talk about stuff like this with, someone that gets this world. So such a fun time.
And like with rounding out the year, like what better time to talk about money? We're going into holiday season and everyone's spending or not wanting to spend. And it's like, nope, there's an abundance of money out there. Don't stress about it. It'll come to you. So thank you for talking on that topic. Yeah, all right, guys, if anything that you heard today intrigued you, or you're like, I have to meet or work with this woman, seriously, check her out. Go on to Instagram, send her a DM. She's amazing. I would vouch for her. So thank you guys so much for listening today. And until next time, have a great week. Thank you so much for listening to us. It means so much to me. If there were any aha moments or anything that really resonated with you on today's episode, then please take a minute and share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you. Also, if you could, please rate and review the podcast, as it is new and that really helps to get the word out there more and reach even more listeners. I'll catch you on the next episode.